Good morning. There we go. Welcome. I can see there are a couple of people watching live, which is great. Let me head back over to that all looks good. Good morning. It's Thursday morning just in Australia. So that would be Wednesday evening in the US and Canada, or afternoon, depending on where you are. It's a time to get a little bit crafty. Oh, we've got quite a few coming in. Brenda. Hello, Brenda. Sound is good. Excellent. Thank you for that. Sharon, hello. Sharon is my little spanner today, and she is here, and the sound is good. That's great because I've got this little lapel mic, which is quite old, but the lid fell off it. It's got like a furry thing over the top, so I'm assuming that it's not as, it's quite a harsh sound now because it doesn't have that little baffle over the top. Hello, Barb, how are you? Just wanted to tell you how fun the crafting challenge was. Wasn't that fun, Brenda? Look, we've done that a few times now, but that's the first time we've done it sort of public. And we have such fun every single time. It's so interesting to see how our cards turn out and how different they are to the one we started with. So yeah, and Jackie's great to work with. She is great at thinking on the go. So yeah, no, we had a great time with that. So that will be probably about once a month we'll do that in the future. So keep an eye out for that. So that Jackie and I in the same channel do a craft off where we have a little bit of a challenge. Hello, Monica. You're still laughing from the craft off, Barb. How are you, Monica? It's lovely to see you here. So today, well, before we start, I better do my homework. So let's quickly do that. There's not much, so don't stress. But first up, we've got Stampin' Up are having a Black Friday sale. So they have bowed to the pressure and they are putting on a Black Friday sale from the 25th of November to the 1st of December, up to 40% off. And there was, I think, 40% off some products. I think if I remember rightly, but don't quote me, it was 15% off some adhesives and then something else off something else. I can't quite remember what they were. I could probably have a quick look. Do it properly, Cheryl. Have a quick look. Now it's not going to tell me. I probably deleted it. Anyway, there's some specials, so keep an eye out for that on the 25th of November. Now I went to do a little class calendar for November, but got sidetracked. Anyway, this is my stamp studio here at home, all set up, ready to go, and we have class on this Saturday, the 22nd of November, and then we also have a class on next Tuesday, the 25th of November. So there's lots going on the 25th of November. So we're having a class in the afternoon on that day. And then for those who like to plan ahead, we're having a Tuesday class in December on the 9th, and then a final class for the year on the Saturday, the 13th of December. So they're the 2 dates in December if you want to make a note of those for the girls who are local to me. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, I'm very fortunate that my husband is very patient and allowed me to take over a room. I don't have a craft room as such at the moment because it's being renovated, which is a very long process. But I do have that room which is set aside just for classes. So the theory being that I can keep it neat and tidy all the time. It's not always that way. It's not neat and tidy at the moment, but yeah, that's the theory there. So we can fit 6 to 8 comfortably in there, and yeah, it makes for a nice relaxing craft day. Not too many people, enough space for us to spread out a bit. So let's get started for today. Now, I don't know if you saw my post in the Blue Mushroom group this morning, but I I have created a few different colorways in this card, and I am having such fun. So hopefully today will go just as well. I'm going to pop you over to my craft desktop. There we go. Lights are on. Yes, cool. So this was the card that I created originally. I created this quite a while ago for our Lights of Aurora class, but we didn't use it. We used other things instead. And this one I kept aside to do as a live. So I did the other one, which I don't have here in front of me, the other day, which was the, went all the way across the page with the, do I have it here somewhere? No, I don't. I should have got it out. But anyway, we did this one a couple of weeks ago. Not this one, a different one. We didn't have a lake. It was just purely the trees and the mountains. I think, if I remember rightly. Maybe there was a lake. Can anyone remember? I can't remember. Anyway, so terrible. We're doing this one. And I did it in the same colours, which was Secret Sea and Petunia Pop. So my mountains are inked in Secret Sea and Petunia Pop, and for the foreground ones, they're in the Secret Sea. For the next sort of mountains back, they're a mixture of Secret Sea and Petunia Pop, and then as we go back, we make the mountains lighter. So this is done slightly differently to the other one. We're going to work our mountains in a different order, but it's not too difficult. It's just a little bit of tweaking as you go. So again, we're using the Light and Wonder bundle, which I have here. The only stamp that I'm using is the sentiment, which will be thank you on all of them because it fits nicely along the bottom. Your Strength Inspires Me probably fits as well, but I quite like the placement of the thank you. But of course you could use anything. But then I played around with some other colorways. So the next one up I did was this one, which is, let me see if I can, seeing as I can, oh, maybe I can't because it's gone away. I've lost my camo, so maybe I can't zoom you in. I'm scared if I go in and try and find it, I might lose you. Let me see if I can open it. There it is. Cool. I mean, you didn't disappear. That's a good thing. So now I should be able to, oh, look at that. I can zoom you in a fraction. All right, so this one is, I use Night of Navy in the background, so it's slightly bluer. And it is, the colors that I used are Pool Party with it. So, and when you mix Pool Party and Night of Navy, you end up with a greeny color. Isn't that weird? Actually, I think I might have added some peach in there. I can't remember. Maybe I added peach in there as well. I think I did. What's the color called? Pretty Peach? I can't, is that what it's called? Peach Pie, maybe. Peach Pie? Anyway, I think I might have added some peach pie in there. I can't quite remember. I did this one last night. So there's Night of Navy, and then it must have been peach pie because that's what I've done the other one in. And then I did Pool Party in the background for the other mountains, just to give it a little bit of a greeny feel. So that was quite fun, and I really liked that. So I thought, this one's in the Imperial sizing, by the way. So for you Imperial girls, this is how it looks in the Imperial. I'll zoom you back out again a fraction. And this one is the metric, so you can see it's a finer card. But this panel is sort of similar. It's a bit shorter, but a similar width, maybe a little bit wider. So yeah, but all the measurements were in that, the supply cutting list that I put up in the Blue Mushroom group and in the event. So have a look for those. I'm not sure if I put the link in the video description below. I'm not sure if I got back to that, but I'll put it up later if I didn't. So, but the supplies are all for this card, but I have got the measurements for Imperial as well. So, and you just change it up and use whatever you like. So then I went ahead this morning and was having fun with this one. Now this one is, I love this. This is Misty Moonlight. So I used Misty Moonlight as the inks, and here I added in the Peach Pie, which definitely gives a green green shade moving back to the more lighter orange colour. But I have mixed both colours together in all of this blending to give different effects. So I really love this colour in here, whatever that is. It's a mixture of Pretty Peacock and, not Pretty Peacock, Misty Moonlight and Peach Pie, believe it or not. It was a difficult one to blend because they are a little difficult to blend the colours, but I love the way that the water is reflecting in the lake in this one. They'll all end up different, honestly. I think the placement of the trees is different in them all. The way the mountains sit is different in them all. So today we are going to use different colours again, and I have pulled out, just move these ones out of the road. I have pulled out Pretty Peacock, that's why Pretty Peacock was on my mind, and Coastal Cabana with, I'll probably add some Lost Lagoon into the blending as well. So I've pulled out some ink colours here. So I pulled out the Pretty Peacock, Coastal Cabana and the Lost Lagoon. And I also, I'm not sure whether I'll use it or not, but I did pull out some Petunia Pop just to have in the background in case I thought it needed a bit of punch, because these are very toning colours, whereas some of these other colours are quite contrasting. So I thought I might need to add a little bit of pop in there somewhere. Thank you, ladies, thank you. All right, so let's get started. Now, I've got all of the Pretty Peacock card as per my list, and I've got some inside pieces which I'll just put out of the side at the moment. So that's just my inside layers in Coastal Cabana and white, and I've got a piece of Coastal Cabana and a piece of white which make that central panel, and that's the just going to zoom you out just a fraction more for the moment, and that's the central panel on the card. So I've got a folded Pretty Peacock card. This one's going to sit on here like that. We have a piece of the Lights of Aurora paper. Now if you don't have this paper, you can still do this, just use maybe Pool Party, and you can add some a wink of Stella and maybe a little bit of white ink in to make the reflection in the water. But I'm going to use this one because I have it here and it works really well. So this is this particular design, and I'm going to cut from here. So in the instructions I said to cut it, the Lights of Aurora, to 15.2 centimeters, which is the width of the dies that we use, by 6. Now I think I discussed this last time, that all of these dies in this set are 6 inches, which is 15.2 centimeters. So I just cut all of my cardstock to that. We might not use the bits off the end, but it's just for ease of putting your die across, and then you can make the decision about where you want to sit them on your card as you design your card, and not then find that you've maybe cut it in the wrong place. So we want 15.2 wide, which is the 6 inches, by 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches. So I'm going to cut it from this top so that I've got as much of this Pool Party white type pattern to work from as possible. The rest is all cut according to the instructions. Now the only thing that I forgot to put in there was 2 pieces of white, basic white card. These were 15.2, again, the width of the die, by 8 centimeters, and there were 2 of them. But you will need another one, and it doesn't have to be 8 centimeters, it just has to be 15.2 wide. It can be shorter if you need, but I've just cut 3. This one is to make, I forgot that we needed a piece to make our masks with. So that's what that third piece is for. So it wasn't in the instructions. I will add it later. All right, so first thing, we will need the largest piece of...
Carrie Maxwell.
I'm so sorry, this is my family calling. I'm just going to decline that. So it probably disappeared on me. Are we still there? Yes. I have Do Not Disturb set up, but I have certain family members that are allowed to break that Do Not Disturb. That was one of them. But anyway, hopefully she's okay. Hello, Bridget. How are you? All right, so we've got the largest piece of your dark card. In the instructions it's Secret C, but it's the largest piece in this instance. I'm using Pretty Peacock. So just your dark cardstock. This is 15.2, again, the width of the die, by 11.5, or 6 inches by 4.25 inches. We're going to cut our large trees out of this piece. So we'll grab the large trees out of the die set. Now all of the measurement, as per the card that we did the other couple of weeks ago, all of my measurements are so you can put the die towards the top, and hopefully everything will meet nicely at the bottom. Now in this instance, not everything meets at the bottom as we get further through the card, but most of the first layers meet at the bottom. I'll just show you. When I did the first one, I just randomly created this. You can see, I don't know if you can see that there, but no, the light's not really great for it. Just move this around a bit. But it's quite thick here in the middle because that's where everything bunched up, and then it comes down to nothing. So I've tried to make the measurements so that you can see that one's a lot more even all the way. It just makes for a nicer looking card. So I've tried to make it so that all of the measurements will meet at the bottom. So now I'll shift my light back. Sorry, a message just came in over the top here, and it's someone's not well, but I'll plow on and we'll keep going here. All right. Sorry, it's a bit distracting when you get a message that comes in over the top, and it's Kerry might watch this back later. Sorry, Kerry, I was live, but I'll get back to you as soon as I'm finished. All right. So this makes a lot of scraps, so I'll just get rid of all those because I'll need to use this plate again. Carefully take this off, and then you can see it's the same width as the die, so it should just come away quite easily. It does make a lot of scraps, so we need to get rid of all these. Keep this bit because we might need that for the inside, and then I'll put this aside. I'll take all these bits out later so that we're not wasting time, and I will need to get all of these little bits out of here. So we'll get what we can out with the brush, and then the rest we'll take out with the Take Your Pick tool. Hello, Nicole. Yes, I have been having a lot of fun with this one. I really love all the different colorways. So quite often when I make a card, I'll say, I wonder what it would look like in these colors. Well, in this instance, I've gone a little overboard and I've tried it with different colors. So now we're using green as our base. We'll see how it comes out. But you could use any colours. The blues work particularly well because, you know, mountains are a bit that colour in the distance. Maybe not so much green, but anyway, we'll see. All right. Okay, now I'm going to ink this one with Pretty Peacock ink. So I'm just going to bring in a spare piece of card. We'll grab our Pretty Peacock ink in a block. Add some ink to this. And grab, I've got everything out here. I've just got to remember where I put it. I've got an ink blending brush. I'm using the small one. Could use the large one if you want. Pick the ink up. And for this, it doesn't really matter if there's blotches. It's meant to be just darker in the top, in the trees. So just be a little careful when you're blending that you don't rip your leaves off, defoliate your trees, and just add some darker shading into the top of the trees. Just need a little bit more ink. So, and the reason I'm doing this is because this is our background for our card and I want it to stand out on the Pretty Peacock card base. So if we add ink to it, it makes it nice and dark, and it doesn't matter if it's blotchy. and I don't take it all the way down. It's just the trees that I wanted to stand out. Put that aside because we'll use that again in a minute. Now I'm going to put this onto here, and obviously we're going to have to trim it off. So you can either trim it off now and then glue it on, but what I'm going to do is put the whole thing on and then trim it off after it's on. I have a silicone mat here, and I'm going to use a sponge dauber to add glue to the trees. I'll still put the glue on regular on the bottom. It's just this delicate tree thing, and I want them to be stuck to the background to look like they're part of the back. So we'll add a little bit of glue, more than that, onto our silicone mat. Scroop it out a bit. Scroop, that's a new word. Scroop that glue and then daub it onto the back of the trees, holding the tree down so that it doesn't move, and then you shouldn't get any on the front. I don't really need to go all the way out to the edge because we're going to cut some of that off, so I don't know why I did that. Scroop up the rest of the glue. Sort of a cross between scoop and something else. Alright, so now we've got enough glue on there to hold it down. I'm just going to take this off here. This looks pretty good. And add some glue sort of in the middle. We don't need to go right to the edge because we're going to cut this off. Let's see how good my guesstimate was. I do have another silicone mat here. I've got lots of these. I'm going to use this so I don't stick it to my paper. So line it up with the bottom of the card, and it sort of goes in the middle. Plonk it down. It's all nice and stuck, and then we'll trim off the edges. Now on the folded edge, just be careful you don't cut your fold, otherwise you have a hole in your card when you open it up. I'm just going to pop that aside. We may use that on the inside of our card, we may not, I'm not sure yet. And then this one, just open this up. Trim that off, put that aside, and then that's the background to our card glued on. I'm just going to move this out of the road a bit so I can see what I'm doing. Right, so that's our background done. We'll pop that aside for a second, and we can move on to the exciting bit, which is the front. Now, what did I do with, oh here they are, and these are all the bits that we'll need to die cut, all these bits here. And this is going to be what we're going to work on. We'll put this one aside for a minute because we won't need that until it's time to glue it together. And we'll start with our trees. So we're going to cut the small trees. Oops. Out of the larger piece of your darker card. So I've got Pretty Peacock. So it's the wider piece. I can't quite remember what the measurement was. We'll put this one aside for a minute, and again line it up with the top of this piece. So now I will tell you that the metric one, the imperial measurements work really well, because I made that imperial one with the measurements that I have, and everything lined up perfectly with this line along the bottom. Of course it depends on how close you're going to the top, but if you go pretty close to the top, it should work. I'm just going to pop that down on there, and we will die cut that. Now this is another one that makes lots of little bits that you want to make sure are off your plate. And then just be careful when you pull this one away, because the trees are quite delicate and you don't want to rip one off. Okay, again I'll put that aside in case we use it. on the inside of our card. I'll take those out later. I'll put it over with the other one. And we'll just make sure all of the pieces are out of the background here. There we go. All right. Now we're going to cut this, and we are going to use all the bits. Now I will want to ink those trees, but before I do that, I want to do my heat embossing, because otherwise, if we put ink on this now, the powder might stick to the ink. So we're just going to put this where you want it. Now I'm sort of going to, with the metric sizing, you can fit exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4 trees on really well. The Imperial's slightly different, and you have to sort of cut into a tree. You have to move it just a little bit. But anyway, that's sort of where I want it. Now I am going to cut this one before I glue it because I want to use these other pieces. So I'm just going to flip it over, and very carefully, without cutting my white card, because I have done that, just cut along the edge. So we're going to use these bits, and we're also going to use this one, but this is going to be the one that we do our embossing on. So this is a great way to utilize the trees and also put your sentiment, because there's no dies for these sentiments. I mean, this one would be easy enough to hand cut, but the larger sentiments, this is a great way to have a big space below your trees to put your sentiment on for any of the cards using this set. So let's go ahead and grab my embossing powder. This is very messy, isn't it? Don't like that. We'll turn that over. Right, and my little words thank you. We'll just fluff that. Put some Versamark on our thank you and stamp it. I'm going to have twine around here, so somewhere roughly around here. It's not an integral thing. And it depends, of course, on what sentiment you're using. Take away any excess. Now I don't think I have a little brush here. There's a couple of little dots that I really should get rid of. Crash bang. So I'll just grab my take your pick tool and just try and scoot those off there. Usually I've got a very fine brush here, but I'm not sure where it is. I don't know what I'm doing with my lights today, but they're in the road. Okay, let's hit this. Ta-da. That looks good. Okay, step 1 done. Now we can go ahead and ink our trees. So I'm going to flip this back over to the messy side. Grab that ink that we had before. Some more ink onto there. Have our little brush and just ink the trees. Now, just gently. We really don't. Some of these ones on the edges tend to bend over, and we'll just come down into the base a little bit. This will sit behind, so we want some nice shadow in there. Looks pretty good. Do these ones. Now there'll be twine along here, so take it down to that level and then just blend it in a little bit. This is the tree that tends to bend a little bit, so okay, we'll run out of ink again. do this one. Oops. Got a little bit heavy-handed there. Bit of a windy day for those poor trees. Oh, they got in the road of the blending brush bulldozer. Right, so I might just add a little bit more onto these ones. This one's on the front, so just be a bit careful along this base here. We'll just blend that in. Right, that should do. So these trees are going to come along the back. So I'll just pull this in quickly. And I think I put, every single one has come out slightly differently, and I can't quite remember what I did. I could put this one on here. Alright, so you're going to be able to shuffle these along to wherever you want them. Now, what we're going to do is, before we do too much cutting of our trees, this one will come in here. And then we're going to cut this, and then you'll have an extra bit to add in any that you want. So, but before we do that, we need to see where our lake's going to sit. Now, it will be different depending on which part of the paper that you use. So this time depending on where you put it, depends on this little, you know, where your little white part goes. So my mountains tend to come down this way. So this one, you can see, starts over here, which doesn't really line up with where the sun would be coming through here. So that one was a bit, so for this next one, I tried to shuffle it over this way, but it's still, the design of the paper means it still shuffles that way. This one wasn't too bad. This one was from further down the paper, but it's still a long way over to the side. So, you know, it depends on how fussy you want to be, but this time I'm just going to plonk it here in the middle. So I think I did it this way last time, and it was too far over there. So this time I'll turn it upside down and do it over here, and we'll see how we go with this one. Every time is an adventure. We'll cut that. So you can see I'm not going all the way over to each edge. I'm positioning it according to the pattern in the DSP for this particular one. Okie doke. So this is going to sit in here. Now, theoretically, if you've gone pretty close to the top, this should fit along that bottom panel, and then this should fit along that bottom panel, and then your trees come in. And you can sort of position everything and work out where you're going to put it, how far over it needs to go. I think it needs to go this way a little bit. And it'll be something like that. So the lake, it looks like it's way up in the sky compared to the trees now, but when we get our mountains in there, it will look totally different. So maybe, so the imperial one worked really, really well, but the metric one might need a little bit of jiggering around here. So that's sort of how that will go. Let's have a look at our other pieces, which are going to help us visualize our lake properly. This next piece of Pretty Peacock is for the what I call the rocky texture die, which is this one. Goes up this way. And it follows the line of the mountains. So we'll go ahead and die cut this one close to the top again. Aside and pull all the bits out later. We don't need this piece. This is the piece we're going to use. Now this fits nicely onto the mountain range, which is this one. And you can see that it fits nicely into here. So that's the way we want to cut our first mountain range. So this one again will be close to the top. Something like that. So this is just out of the white card. All of our mountain ranges will be inked to get the different shadings. All right. So from here we should be able to just pop that one aside for a minute. We will use that. We should be able to get more of a visual on our mountain. So if we pop that in there, even though it's not inked yet, we'll still be able to see roughly where it is. So if we put this underneath our paper, so all we're doing is getting a bit of a visual here. And then we can start cutting. So now you can see, or can you see, with those mountains in the background, even though they're white, you can get a bit better visual for where the lake is going to sit. And so now, if you imagine that, you can see that the lake is sitting in between where the mountains come down. So that looks pretty good to me, I think. Just pull this over to the side for a minute. So I want this peak on our piece, and the lake will be here, so that probably needs to come down just a fraction, just to fit in with the top there, and be something like this. This will all be coloured, remember, so we want to pull this across just a fraction so that the peak is on the card. So that's about where it'll sit. So knowing that, we can now go ahead and trim our edges off for our pieces. Now this one here can come out because we will know where that one goes because it sits in that frame. So we can pick these two up. They're lined up with the bottom already, and we can, or this one's not, but we'll leave it where it is, and we'll trim off. Might just actually let that line up. Still on the, yep. Flip it over and we'll just trim these off. And this one. And you just have to be careful to not cut your base white piece if possible. So many layers on this that even if you do muck it up a little bit, it doesn't really matter. Now I have cut that one a little bit short. Just flip it over there. There will be other layers over this, so it's not really, you're not going to see that. So we'll just make sure that we put that in the middle. All right, so that's what we've got so far. These are all our spare bits. Now this piece, we know where that's going to go. That's going to automatically fit onto the mountains. So but let's have a look at our trees now. And then we can work out where to put our extra trees. So this one I'm going to pop in underneath here. So it's going to come down, we'll trim some off the bottom. Just want to line this up like that. I think that looks pretty good. This one, some taller trees in here, like up here. So what we'll do is we'll see this straight line, we'll hide it behind this second tree. So I'm hiding it behind this second tree, but I can bring the other trees up a little bit taller in the background, and so that will go in there like that. Then we've got this space, but we'll have these trees here and we can duck them into there if we want to. So let's go ahead and cut these. So we'll just grab this one and trim it off. Now I'm just going to trim that one like so. So that's where that one will go. We might glue that one on while we've got it there, because it's not lined up on the bottom. You can see that it's not lined up on the bottom. We're going to pull that in a little bit higher. So we'll put our glue along the edge here. but we don't want to come up into the trees, so we'll just put our glue along here as well, and I'll put it up into here. And then we'll try and remember where that's sat in behind, like that. And then this one was going to go over into, and we've got to cover that cut bit, so we've got to bring it down. We'll straighten our tree up a bit, and that one can sit in there like that. Just bring that down a little bit, something like that. Okay, so then we'll just bring this in and trim it off. Why that is crooked, I will never know. You would think that it would be straight, so your trees were straight, but anyway, I'm not arguing with that. Maybe that's because that one was a bit wonky, but it looks good. So now we can go ahead and glue that one on. So again, it's mainly down the sides and the bottom that you need to worry a lot about, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in the base of these trees. And we'll bring this down. Now we know we trimmed this off at the bottom, so we know it fits in that corner. That's what the back looks like. And then we've got those other trees here. Put this down on here. And we can sort of think, well, would I like any more trees? Would I like another one in here, for instance? Now I've cut that poor tree. I've sliced this one so we can get rid of him. And so we can either put them down on this side or over on this side. I think we'll put them, I think we'll put this one just in here. I can see through there, and I just want to make sure that that doesn't look too weird. Like that. Okay, so grab this, oops, I just moved it. Trim off the bottom, and then you can just put glue on this and trim, stick it in behind. So I'm trying to not be too fussy about this. I'm just, because honestly they all come out differently. Now we know that we put that along the base somewhere. Every single time, all mine end up different. Okay, that's our trees, and that's going to go onto our lake. We've got our lake piece. We know that the bottoms line up, so we can go ahead and glue the trees to the lake. So we'll put some glue in behind here. I can't remember how far up that lake came, so we'll just add it a little bit just in here as well, just to cover all my bases. So again, we'll, oops, now look, I've come too high with my glue, so I'm just going to take that off. Oopsie-days. I might have to get my glue eraser out later. Right. Slide it into place, like that. And that's the trees on the lake done. Now, next, we'll get rid of some of these little bits. Next up we had this mountain range, and we want to get this bit where it fits onto here. And now that I have trimmed this, can't quite remember where it went. Now this piece here, if you don't want to put this piece in, you certainly don't have to. It's only a small bit that shows in the background, but it's going to be pretty peacock colour, whereas we're going to add colour to the mountain, so it does create a little bit of texture. So we know where that's going to go, so we can trim this off and glue. Well, we can't glue it together until we... I'm going to turn it up this way. No, I'm not. But I'm going to be very careful here because that's loose. I must have glued it on first before, I think. Makes it easier to trim off. Right. Now we can glue this piece onto here. So we'll just add a little bit of glue into these rocky textures. I don't know what they really are. But anyway, then they're rocky textures to me. And then this sits in here. Just like that. Pull those edges out, and oh, I forgot to ink it. I forgot to ink it. We can't have a white hill. Luckily, we're going to ink this one in Pretty Peacock, so it doesn't matter that that's on there. Luckily. So the first mountain range is going to be in the darker ink colour, but do it before you glue stuff on. Note to everybody, but because it's the same colour, it's not really going to matter. So we'll just add some ink into here, and the foreground mountains are darker, so add quite a bit of ink. And then because this is going to all line up with this, I'm going to ink down this white part down here, just in case any shows from behind, especially when you tilt it. You know, when someone picks it up and goes, oh, how did you do this? And pick it up and all the white edges show, so you want to try and colour all the edges as you go. Let's see what that looks like. Are they dark enough? I think they need to be a bit darker. Oh, I love the way it sort of starts to come together all of a sudden, but it does need to be a little bit darker. I'll grab some more ink. All right. And there we go. That's going to go onto there like that. And we've got the start of our mountain range. So let's glue that together. Now, again, I actually don't know where this comes up to, so we'll just put ink to about there. And then I'm just going to put ink along the base of my lake. Just make sure everything sticks down. And having that baseline to line up to, glue everywhere, for most of these first layers is really helpful. Right, now once I've done that, I can see that this bit is sticking off the edge, so I'm just going to trim that. Oh, actually, was that our lake? No, that was our mountains. Well, you want to keep your edges as straight as you can. This is going to go onto our white piece like this, but we're not going to glue it on yet because we've got to do more mountains and more inking. So that's what it's going to look like. I do have a glue eraser here, and I'm just going to take some of that glue off that I seem to have got on my front. I'll have to work that one a bit more. That's where I got that ink where it wasn't supposed to be. Be very careful not to remove my trees like that. Get back up there, tree. Just took that glue off. What I might do for him is just add a little bit of glue behind him, because he didn't have any on him anyway. A little tiny bit. Stop him coming adrift again. Okay. So now we have still over here this mountain range, which if you flip it up, it can be this way. If you flip it over, it can be this way. So you've got lots of options with your other mountains. We've still got 2 bits of white card left here. With the second one, we'll take the mountain die again. I have now lost, I've got lake. And I've got no mountain. Well, I'll need, oh, did I don't know what I've done with the mountain die. Oh dear. It's not with all my other ones that have got backs in them still, so it must be here somewhere. I don't even know where the dies are. Oh, here they are. Is it in front of me somewhere? No. Anyway, you need to cut another lot of mountains. Oh, here they are, right in front of me. Good, down here. Still stuck to the tape. Oh dear. With the second one, you don't have to go quite as close to the top. You can bring it down a little bit. That gives you just a little bit more flexibility with putting your layer mountains in behind. So we'll do that. And so now, here's my mountain die, because I will need that again. Now you have lots of different options for adding in mountains. You can do them up this way. They all have to be up this way, but you could flip them around that way if you liked. So you've got lots of options to then just go ahead and add more mountains. So I think we'll do a larger one in here. So I'm just going to chop this in half, and we'll put one in here. So we'll put one in here like this, and we'll put this side over here like that, so they can go in here. So they just cross over at the back a bit. So once you've got that sort of worked out where you want to put them, just cut them off, and then you've got a guide for where they would, where you worked out they were going to sit. So we'll do that one there, and we'll do this one over here like that. Cut that off. And we're going to ink those. Now they're going to be inked in. Now, what other colours? We've only really used Pretty Peacock. So I think we might use some Lost Lagoon. So I'll just grab another block. I've got another block here. And I've got a Lost Lagoon blending brush somewhere here. So we'll start with the lighter colour, and we'll try and find a space here. And just add some colour in the Lost Lagoon. We are going to add a touch of Pretty Peacock over the top. So it doesn't really matter. Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock are very similar colours. I'll just do the edges. So then we'll come back in with some Pretty Peacock. And add some Pretty Peacock over the top and around the edges. I don't know why I did that edge. It's in underneath. We'll do this edge, shall we? So this is the edge that sits to the outside. And then we'll just add a little bit of Pretty Peacock in over here in the base. All right, let's see what those look like and if they need to be any darker. So that one's going to come down something, I can't quite remember where I had it, but something like that. And then this one can glue in here like this. And I don't think they need to be too much darker. I'm going to put a little bit more ink along the base, because they need to be darker down towards the base. And a bit more of those bases show than I thought. So we can glue those on. So this one's going to go there, so we know we'll need glue along the base and the side. Just like that, and then here we can put a little bit of glue in behind this mountain. Oops. I'll glue that one on there like that. Push it in so that it's straight. And the same with this one, glue along the base and side. And probably not up that high, be careful there because this comes up higher, but we'll see. And a bit of glue along here. Can't quite remember what I did there yet. I'm just going to take some of that excess glue off there and place this in there like that. Push it in. Oh, you got a hand injury, Nicole. That must be hard. Not sure how I'd cope with that. But yeah, I wasn't too sure about this set to start with. I got it for a class I did with Fiona Fernandez, and I thought, oh, not sure. But honestly, I'm absolutely loving the scenery stuff you can do with it. All right, so now we've got more mountains here that we can use. So we need another peaky bit. So we'll put a peak in here, say, and then we'll add, and again, these are all going to be different. Then we'll probably add one in there like that, something like that. So let's cut this one first. One. And two. And the trick to not having all your mountains look the same is to flip this piece over this way, and then they'll be going in a different direction. So, but we'll put this one in first, and this one is going to be, again, Lost Lagoon, but I might add a little bit of Coastal Cabana into this one. So we're doing 3 colours for this one. In my sample card that I put the instructions up for, I've only got 2 because they're quite contrasting colours. With Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon, they're quite similar, so I needed to add a pop of colour in there, which is also why I bought in the Petunia Pop in case I think we needed it. So we'll see how we go. So a bit of Coastal Cabana first. Oops, just in there. Then we'll add some Lost Lagoon. I can't remember which ink was which. This was Lost Lagoon, I think. Oh, I don't know, actually. I don't know which one. No, that's Pretty Peacock. This is Lost Lagoon. Oops. Just add a bit of that in there. And then we'll add some Pretty Peacock. I'm going to turn these around because I'm getting ink on my fingers. Then we'll add Pretty Peacock, which is the one I don't have much left of. Over the top and in the base. Just lightly. Because remember, these are supposed to be getting lighter as they go back. This doesn't matter because you won't see it, and I'm being a bit rushed today. Don't want to be here for an hour and a half. Well, I wouldn't mind being here for an hour and a half, but I'm sure you'll all get sick to death of watching me after an hour and a half. Okay, so we've got our edges done. So I am going to bring my dark up into the base of that mountain range. And that's just so that if any does show, it will be darker down in the groove or the valley of the mountain. don't think a lot of this shows, so it probably doesn't really matter. But anyway, let's see what it looks like, shall we? It's always exciting to see what it looks like. Okay, so I think it needs to be a little bit darker in there, in that groovy bit. Can you remember where the groove was? Because I can't. I think it was down there. Just add some... Yes, see, that looks better because you've got the contrast now. So that's how that's going to go. So we'll put ink onto the base of here. Again, I'm not sure how far it comes up, so we'll just put it up the sides. It comes up a bit further than that, but mainly we can put ink along here and that'll hold the top bit down. Right, and here we go. Oh, we could do that. No, we'll come back to here. Got a little bit of a crease there. There we go. Let's have a look at what it's starting to look like on our sky. Oh, that's pretty amazing. All right, so now we're going to add another one of these what I call the actual die cut mountains. And we might put this one in. Now this is in reverse. If I put it this way, it's the same. Oh, I could turn it up. That might work like that. Okay. Yep. That'll work. If I put it like this, it's the same sort of orientation as this one. So if I flip it up on its side and bring it out to here. Oh, and we could have this one here as well. That's a good idea. All right. So hold on to this. Cut along here. Whoops, I'll just flip it over. Cut this one. Because it doesn't matter if it's not straight underneath. It's what's showing that matters. So now this one, we want to be a little bit lighter at the top. So again, we'll start with the, I'll put a bit more Lost Lagoon on here. Haven't got these in the right order. Put the light one at the top, shall we? Coastal Cabana. So let's do Coastal Cabana along here. I'm being really rough. I'm not really worrying about all the blobs. I mean, these are mountains, so, you know, they've got trees and things on them. So they're allowed to be a bit blobby. A little bit of Lost Lagoon. Over the top. And then our pretty peacock in around the base and up in there to form that shadow. So when you are using this set, of course, you know me, I do a lot of ink blending and I like the tones that you get with it and the changes in the colours. But you could do it just with cardstock. You don't have to do all the ink blending. You could just cut it with Lost Lagoon, Coastal Cabana and Pretty Peacock cardstock. And it will still look just as stunning, I think. But I'm a big inky girl. I like my inking. Have you noticed? I'm sure you probably have. Now, this is going to come along here like this. Now, this one's very light, so we might just add a little bit more Pretty Peacock to this edge. And there we go. That can go on there like that. So that will just need a tiny bit of glue along here. Just a tiny bit there. And where will it sit here? So I can put glue along the back edge here, wherever it sits, just to hold it down in those places. Pop it on here. Ha! All right. I think that's looking pretty good, and we can probably start, actually we might add one more bit, and then we'll start inking the background mountains in. So we might just add this one in here. What other shapes have I got? Oh, that's too same. It's got ink on it anyway. We might just add this one into here. And that sort of gives us an even, oh, you need to trim it first, Cheryl. So that's going to go down in under here, like that. Just trim that off. Quickly add a little bit of ink. We need Coastal Cabana. So if you follow the same pattern until we get to the inked mountains, or the direct to our background ink patterns, then they should all be good. Bit of Lost Lagoon, and then a little bit of Pretty Peacock down in the base. Now this is only a tiny little piece, but that attention to detail will make all the difference. Okay. And can you remember where I said? Somewhere in there. So it needs to be just a bit darker in the base. I've got no Pretty Peacock ink left. Darker down in the base here. Not much shows, but it'll make a difference. Right, there we go. So one's going to sit in there. So we'll add glue. Now none of this shows, so this can all be glued down. But I don't know what else shows, so we won't risk it. That's just going to go in there like that. Something like that. There we go. So now we're ready to start inking our background mountains onto the actual cardstock. And we're going to work with a lighter, I need another bit of paper. We're going to work with a lighter piece of lighter ink colour. Just grab another piece of scrap somewhere here. Oh, I don't think I've got one. Oh, yes I have. Sure I have. Here we go. So when I'm finished with these ones for the day, I keep them and fold them up and then use them as a smaller piece. But I don't want to pull all that darker colour into my background. Now, as you're working with your mountains, you're going to need some masks. Just pop those out of the road. So again, use your mountain die and cut this scrap piece that you had right across the middle so that we can use either side. How are we going for time? Oh, we're over already. Anyway, are you asleep yet, Brenda? It's the mountains that are making you look, that are making you feel peaceful. All right, so now we're going to go in with lighter ink shading in the background. And you can use these. You've got this one, which will make the peak. You can flip it over if you want, just be careful. I tend not to, unless I die cut another set, because you might get ink on your white card and you don't want that. But the trick here is to start at the back and work your way forwards. So it's a little bit of a guessing game. You want to leave some white sky, but you sort of want to have a mountain that doesn't line up with, you don't want that one there because it lines up with this one. So we'll move it over and we'll do our first mountain somewhere around here. All right, so what colours will we use? We'll use some Coastal Cabana. So now just don't move, which I have lost. Coastal Cabana. There it is. So we're probably only going to use the tiniest, winciest bit of Pretty Peacock now. We're moving more into our light colours. So we've got some Coastal Cabana. Now take this, in this instance we're working directly onto our piece of card, so you need to take all that excess off, and these are the background, the mountains in the background, so you need to be really light. Better to start light and work your colours up than end up with very heavy colours to start with. So I'm just doing that mountain, oops, wrong colour, and we're just using a little bit of Coastal Cabana, and then I'm going to add in some Lost Lagoon. Take all your excess off. Make sure you hold that die really firmly and add in some Lost Lagoon. And there we've got our first mountain. So let's see how that looks here. Okay, so now we've got all of this space in the background that we can add a lighter mountain in, and we've got the slightly darker mountain. So if we'd done it the other way round, you can end up with lines, darker lines through your lighter mountain, or lighter, anyway, have I got one here I can show you? If you start, which one did I start at the front? This one. This one I started at the front to see how it looked, and you can see that there's, can you see that one there? It looks a bit weird because it looks like you can see the other mountains through it. I didn't want that effect, so that's why I'm starting at the back this time. But now we can go and add a lighter colour over the top, and it's not going to affect that one so much. So let's put a lighter mountain in here, which will have other ones over the top, but we want to sort of bring that range so that it's similar. So here, so again, we'll start off quite light. This one will be the lightest. Very, very light. I have hardly added any ink to that at all. Just a very little light amount, probably take all the excess off and then just go like that. Then end up with a very light one in the background. Now we do need one over this side as well. So we'll just choose a shape. And again, whatever ink is left in the brush should probably work. And a little bit of Lost Lagoon. There we've got those really light ones in the background. So let's have a look here. So now we've just got this little area in here that we can add in some other mountains. So the darker they are, the more forward they are, the lighter they are, they're more receding into the background. So we need to add something in here. And let's add some of these little peaks just in here like this. So now we can move a little bit darker. We'll start with the Coastal Cabana. Then we'll add some Pretty Peacock. And then we will just add a touch, just a very slight touch of Pretty Peacock. Or we would if I knew where my brush was. Don't move. Here it is. Knew it wouldn't be far away. Just a touch, smidgen. And then we've got another one more in the foreground. I'm going to be a little tricky and add some colour in here. Just a little bit of Pretty Peacock. Just to do that. And we might do the same thing over here. So with this one we'll make it a bit more full on. So Coastal Cabana, a little bit of Lost Lagoon, and a touch of Pretty Peacock. All right, now we've got a bit of a, what does that look like? Oh, it's not too bad. So we've got a little bit of a mark there. All right, so now I need to add something in here. And what can we add in there? What shapes do we have? I think that one's going to be very much the same as that one. I've got some leftovers from my, oh, could use this one. That might be nice, just a little shape like that. All right, so this one can be I think we'll just go with Lost Lagoon. Oh, got a bit of a whiskery brush here. And then a little bit of Pretty Peacock. Okay, let's see what we're looking like now. Thank you, Bridget. How are you? Oh, still got some light in there that I don't really like. And I think this one needs a little bit more ink. So the good thing is if you can remember where you masked, you can go back in. And I'm going to put some Pretty Peacock in here. Just to darken that bit up a little bit. That's a bit better. And then we will add another little mountain range over here, somehow or other, like that. Bit of Lost Lagoon. And some Pretty Peacock. All right, so now we are looking like a mountain range. How's that? Now, is it too boring? Do we need some Petunia Pop in there? I don't know what Petunia Pop will look like over that. We can try it. Is it too boring? I think it might be. I think it might need a little bit of a pinky glow somewhere along the line. They're all going, Cheryl, what are you doing? Got a perfectly good scene there. What are you doing? I'm just going to see what it looks like if I add some Petunia Pop to this mask, and that'll give me an idea of what it looks like over the top. Oh, I do like it. Okay, we're going to do this, girls. We're going to add some Petunia Pop. So we've got our masks, so we know where we're going, and we want this one first. We'll do this one, and I'm going to add the Petunia Pop down in here. I need a block. Brenda says she's in a trance, and look at the lake. Yes, it's amazing. The lake really pops. And that's the designer series paper. All right, wish me luck, girls. Here we go. We're going to do some... Is that the same one or is that a different one? Can't quite remember what I did here. Don't know where I'm going with that one. It's got to be up the other way anyway. I need to cover that little hill there. That'll do. Alright, so we're just going to add some Pretty Peacock in. Not Pretty Peacock. What's this one called? Petunia Pop. Too many peas. So very, very light. Oh, looks like there's something going on down in the valley there. And we'll add some to here. It's just a little bit, but I do want some more Pretty Peacock now that I've got left on here. I'm going to tone this one down a fraction. Oh yes, yes. Okay, now we want to do this one. Was that one? Doesn't really match, does it? Oh, did it like that. All right. Just with what ink's left in there, I'm just going to go across the top. Yes, I'm liking it. I'll do this one. Yes. Okay, and then this one here. Which one was this one? Oh, this must have been this one here. Oh yes, on its side. Okay. Just a fraction. Oh, I'm quite liking that. Let's have a look. Where's our hills here? Oh yes, see now that just adds a whole other layer into those hills, into the background hills, just with that tiny, tiny touch of a different colour. I'm liking it a lot. Okay, stop admiring your work, Cheryl, and get on with this. So we need to glue this piece onto here or we'll be here forever. So don't be scared to mix your colours up. And it only took the slightest little touch. Oh, like I'm covering that over. I've got Petunia Pop ink somewhere on my fingers. Swipe them on my jeans. Right. Sure that's all where it should be. And then that can go onto the panel of Coastal Cabana. Now Petunia Pop would make a lovely stunning pop of colour on here, but I'm going to put it onto the Coastal Cabana. I think that tones in really nicely. Now I am going to, I've got some white showing here, so I'm going to trim that off. I've got a little bit of white showing on this side, so I'm going to trim that off. So I've got my scissors on a bit of an angle and I'm trimming off towards the back. And then what you can do is take your Pretty Peacock, the darkest colour ink, and just go around these edges, just where you've got the darker colours. So that if they haven't stuck anywhere or any bits do show, they won't be bright white. They'll be a tone of the other colours. Do, and that will go in there. Now it's a very fine border, but you can just see it there. So I am just going to trim a little bit off here because it's come a bit long and now it doesn't quite fit on the mat. Now I could be sensible and cut another mat a little bit bigger, but no, Cheryl's going to trim the bottom off her piece and hopefully not wreck it. These scissors are not the sharpest because I've used them with glue this morning. There we go, and I'll just add a little bit more Pretty Peacock ink along the base there, just to hide where I cut. Okay, that can go on there. We'll tie a bit of string around it. It's not the prettiest on the back. You can see how much I've gone down below the level of the white card. That's why there's not much. You see I've come down too far when I put all my bits on. So now it's a bit, maybe I should have taken some off the top. Oh, no we won't, Cheryl. So that border at the bottom's quite fine. Now we're at the top because I came down too far. But anyway, there we go. Bit of white twine, which is over in my box. That just goes around here and sort of makes a visual break here. 2, 3. Tie a little bow. I didn't measure that very well, did I? Oh, talk about fumble fingers. Fumble fingers. thimble fungers. I'm a thimble funger. Right. Pull it tight. It's not very tight, but that'll do. That can sit along there, and then you can grab your thing, and your thing. Thank you, ladies. I'm panicking a little bit because I've gone so far over time. But anyway, we'll finish it. So a few dimensionals to hold it all up. This is a pretty special card, so we're going to put lots of dimensionals on it. Right, take all the backs off. And then the last thing is we will add some of the beautiful dots that come in this suite, which are the frosted iridescent dots. And I absolutely love them, because even though there are specific colours, they just blend in with everything. That goes in the centre. It does go in the centre, even though it's not in the centre. Oh. And the frosted iridescent dots. Oops, a days. You can see they are berry burst, gorgeous grape, balmy blue and clear, but they're iridescent, so whatever you put them on, they sort of pick that colour up. They're really gorgeous. So on this one, I think we'll use the, see the blue turns green, we'll use the blue. Could use the purple to pick up that purple colour up there. That might be a nice idea. No, we'll use the blue. Alright, so we'll put spat all over my card. Put one here, one down here, and one up here. Something like that. And there we go. Let me get rid of all of this mess. I haven't put iridescent dots on one of them, so I could probably do that now too. This one needs some dots. And this one was in the goldy colours, so we'll do the goldy coloured, or the clear they're supposed to be, but they're quite, they have a little gold tinge to them, which is quite pretty. Okie doke, so let's see what we've got. Do they all fit on? Not quite, but you get the idea. So, I don't know which one I like the best, to be perfectly honest. Every time I do a new one, I like the new one the best. I do love this, and I think that little bit of purple really, really added to the look. Let me just, I think I need to, I'm just gonna, oh no, we can sort of see them. I'll just pull them down a little bit. So yeah, so this one was the imperial sizing, the shorter one. The others are all in the metric sizing. But yeah, this one I did add some white ink into these mountains just to give them a really misty feel going on. But I think I might like this one the best. Just not sure why, because on screen it looks very yellow. In real person it's much duller. So that yellow isn't quite so in your face. But yeah, let me know which one you like the best, because I'm finding it hard to decide. I will tell you that this one was my prototype and I didn't stick all the trees down very well, whereas these ones, the trees all work a lot better. But yeah, different colours, different looks. Let me know which one you like the best. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for sticking with me, even though we have been gone way over time. But yes, I have had such a lot of fun. Thank you for coming along and supporting me by coming along every week. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me come back to my face because I tend to not do that. Where are we? It's not going to let me. It's not going to let me come back to my... There we are. Do I look a bit flustered? I was watching the timer here and I'm thinking, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. Thank you, ladies. I will be back next week. Not sure what I'm doing, but I'll be back. Hope to see you then. Thank you. Remember, if I haven't put the list for the supplies in the base, but use whatever colours you like. And I would love to see if you do something similar, or even if you do it with just cardstock. Brenda likes the one we did today. Yes, yeah, I am partial to that one, but I think it looks much better with the purple in it. So I'll see you all next week.